Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, the internet's favorite loser, signing back on once again to bring you guys another video. Now, I've done ranking videos in the past, top 5s, top 10s, but I haven't done a tier list video on this channel yet, and I was really wanting to do that, just because tier list videos, it's a great way to express yourself and like kind of organize your thoughts. A lot easier than a top 10, for me at least. And they're easy and quite fun to make. And I'm working on a big project currently that I can't wait to get out. It's Can You Beat TVHM with Grenades Only? And it was a very devastating, torturous run to get through. Now I'm just piecing all the footage together and scripting everything and just getting all the finishing touches and finishing details on it. So while I'm doing that, I didn't want to keep going without content up on the channel. So here we are, and as you can see by the title, we are ranking, or we're tiering the raid bosses in Borderlands 2. Basically, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, basically, I want to rank and tier the raid bosses in my opinion, from worst to best. And obviously, if you guys can see the bottom tier, it's called Master Yi and Dexy. So yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna put the most garbage ones out of their misery. So that would be Master Yi and Dexy. They are gone. They're dead. They suck. Master Yi, his gimmick is awful. I don't want to sit around and have him gather acid from sandworm pools and do the whole song and dance. The best thing about Master Yi, though, is that you can just squish him with the gate. All you gotta do is kill him with the gate. But there's no real... He doesn't drop anything worth a damn. There's no real reason to go over and fight him. But at least you can insta-kill him. Dexy, however... Not only do you have to waste 100 iridium, around about 100 iridium, you gotta drive around this ginormous map and go and put totems. The only good thing about Dexy is it's an easy triple O farm, where you can farm triple O indefinitely until you get them. But Dexy himself is such a lame and boring and terribly designed boss fight, where you just sit around and pop pimples all day and it takes forever and it's just bleh. The arena being the entirety of the map is kind of cool. He himself being this ginormous, towering monster behemoth, his design is kind of cool, but I've always hated the drifters, even from Borderlands 1. They're just not fun to fight, and they're just not fun enemies in general. So there might be some people that love Dexy and Master Yi. Hey, scream it in the comments. Let me know. I'm here to have a civil conversation with all of you, if you let me. But yeah, these two suck. They're just terrible. Now, the rest, I mean, so Veracitus is obviously like a garbage one, right? Veracitus, him and Hyperius's HP scaled to double of what it should be on OP10. Veracitus is just awful design boss fight. Very cheaty, very just unfair, unfinished, unthought out. It's not a very fun fight at all, and I was thinking about putting it at the unique level, but honestly, it's just as garbage as Master Yi and Dexy. That's just a fact. I mean, Veracitus is just awful. Both of the raid bosses that came out of that DLC are just terrible in general. Veracitus is just an awful, awful boss fight. Unfair. Didn't really think it out. You gotta have a grog, man. Otherwise, you're just gonna be put down by Nova. It's just not fun. It's not fair. There's no real skill to it. You just basically gotta bring a Gunzerker and money shot it to death, and that's basically it. Now, Hyperius, however, double HP, yes, but at least you could set up for Boar. He drops a fucking Norfleet. I mean, Veracitus drops the interfacer, but you can just buy the interfacer from the Seraphender. Um, and also Dexy drops the interfacer if I remember correctly. So you don't really need to get Arm Veracitus for the interfacer. There's only two bosses in the game that drop the Norfleet, and that's Hyperius and Vermi. I'm gonna put. So obviously, I wanted to explain the tiers before I forget. Unique. These are just gun rarities from Borderlands 1 and 2, and then Invincible being the best. So I'm gonna have to put Hyperius down here in unique because he doesn't suck as bad. Like there's ways around him, but at the same time, it just he kind of sucks. You're wondering, any background noise you may hear are either birds from outside or my cat going crazy trying to get the birds that are fucking outside. Anyway, Hyperius, his Nova Blast, you gotta be able to tank it. Pretty much need a Grog. A Grog is pretty much necessary on OP10 for most characters. Other than, honestly, I don't know. I couldn't name. Maya has strong health regen. Krieg has strong health regen. Salvador has strong health regen. Zero can stay in deception. I don't know though. That's not consistent. There's no real consistent way to stay alive in OP10 other than a grog. You need a grog nozzle. So pretty much like Hyperius just nukes you at the very beginning of the fight. He's honestly, I want to put him down here in Master Gi and Dexy too, because Hyperius sucks. Other than going in there and just insta killing him with, Salvador, or insta killing him with Boar, or doing the fake kill skill glitch and insta killing him with Maya and Gage. You can also set up an insta kill with Axton, but that's pretty difficult. So he, in general, just sucks. I don't much care for Hyperius, but he is more fun to fight than these three clowns down here. He's way more fun to fight than these three idiots down here. So I'll leave him in unique for now. We'll also throw Hatterax. I'll come back to you. I'm gonna throw Terramorphous up here in Pearl because Terramorphous was the first raid boss that most people got to see in Borderlands 2. He's kind of iconic. He's kind of cool, the whole way he comes out of the ground, the way you summon him after you first fight him. He's pretty unique and pretty awesome. A giant thresher, you know what I mean? He's kind of cool too because they left the basically an homage, I would say, to the original Chromerax with the rock glitch where you can set at the rock and pretty much be safe. So in that way, I think Terra's pretty damn cool. Obviously, he's got a lot of health and he's pretty hard to kill. But if you set up for him, you can pretty much put him down with all the characters. Terra ain't that cheap, other than his damn black hole attack. If you're out in the field and you get black holed and you get sucked in, you gotta pray for your damn life, buddy. That's the only attack that I say is bullshit. And other than that, he's pretty chill. He's a chill fight. He's pretty cool. Vermi is the other base invincible that we got at the start of Borderlands 2. I'm putting him in invincible because I like the way that you have to get him to spawn. It's rare, it's fun. Now, not everybody enjoys farming for Vermi, but if you do the wildlife exploitation, the the natural selection annex routine, where you just stop at round two and always pretty much down yourself and just to reset the farm. You can farm for vermis all day, all night. I've gotten double vermi spawns in the natural selection annex. Farming for vermi, you can farm for vermi in the Caustic Caverns, Tundra Express, the farmhouse. He's a he's not he's not impossible to get to spawn. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to say. But I always thought that evolving a Varget into an invincible was pretty cool. And the fight itself, he's got a shit ton of health. Okay, especially on OP10, but he's fun. And if you do it at the farmhouse, you can get him insta killed by the train if you get lucky enough to do that. Some people are really consistent with that. You can get him, you can bore him down in Caustic Caverns pretty easily with a chrysolite, or so with a white pistol you can insta kill him. It's pretty cool with zero. So I mean, like, there's ways around pretty much insta killing all of these bosses, but if you don't know how to insta kill a boss, he's pretty fun. You know what I mean? Just to fight him on your own. And by OP10, you probably should know how to do some setups with your character. Otherwise, I don't know how the hell you even got to OP10 to begin with, or even UVHM for that matter. You probably should have some sort of a build for these guys if you're going for them. But yeah, Vermi is pretty damn dope. I thought the way you get to him, the way you evolve the Varkets, pretty cool, pretty cool. Back in the day, people would go to Gee's Gate because that would trick the game into thinking that you had 4 players in your game, and it would make it easier to spawn a Vermi. But at the end of the day, I think now setting like with the version that we got of Borderlands 2, you got like I think a 10% chance with just 1 player to get a Vermi, and then I think you got a 12% chance if you got 4 players. I think don't quote me on those numbers, but I think they fixed it to where Vermi was a little bit more apt to spawn. So yeah, Vermi's always dope. Hatterax, I'm gonna throw at legendary. Hatterax, I think, was a cool last raid boss. For a pretty decent last DLC that we got, Fight for Sanctuary. I think in 2019, right before Borderlands 3. I thought Hatterax was pretty cool. Not my favorite, but definitely not my least favorite. So yeah, I would throw Hatterax in legendary. He's like middle. He's like a mid fight. Pretty cool. He's a pretty cool fight. Especially like the way you can insta kill him with Maya and Recompense, or you can pretty much just shut him down with a Gunzerker. Obviously, you can shut anything down with a Gunzerker with Salvador, but yeah, I'm gonna put Hederax in mid. In the middle of the road. He's pretty cool, pretty fun to me. I like that he drops a lot of loot. I like the gimmick with the retainer toothpick combo. I like the hidden chest that you can farm Topnias. I think I like the chest farm more than like the fight that itself. So I do like Hatterax though. He's pretty chill. I'm almost teetering like in Pearl like territory, but not quite there. Not quite there. Hatterax is pretty cool, but I like his arena. And I like the gimmick, and I like the hidden chest, and I like the chest in general, and the explosion of loot. I get tons of legendaries from him all the time. It's like really, really cool. He's the only real raid boss in this game that reminds you of Crawmerax as far as that loot explosion type. Obviously, nothing comes close to Craw from the original Borderlands as far as like loot and pearls and stuff like that, and the rarity of the weapons, but I like that you actually get some good legendaries once in a while. Like most of the runs, I'm getting multiple legendaries from Hatterax, and it's kind of cool. So we got Pete now, and Pete for me he's top man because Pete's just a fun fight. You got a shield. He does his little, Nova Blast that you got to wash off if you get caught. But as multiple people have found out, you can hide behind that little stand in the back and, avoid his Nova Blast so you don't have to wash off. But Pete's just fun. You break a shield, you knock his helmet off, you get the crits, he's just a fun fight, and I think he's like the fairest and most fun fight out of all the Invincibles in this game. He doesn't feel cheap. His arena's pretty damn cool. Running through the beatdown is dangerous as hell, but it's always iconic. Pete's bar is iconic. The farm, most people's XP farm of choice is the beatdown bar brawl. Pete, man, I think he's the fairest fight in this game. And there's multiple ways that you can cheese him. Obviously, I think they patched out the insta kill elevator kill glitch, but if I remember correctly, you can still get behind the iridium thing that spawns him, and he can't hit you, but you can hit him. There's multiple things that you can do in that arena. That if you're even having trouble fighting him, then you can look up some guides on how to like cheese him a little bit. But you really shouldn't be having trouble fighting Pete. You shouldn't be having trouble fighting Pete, guys. Pete. I can't say his. I was having I was having a hard time saying his name. But yeah, so that's Pete, man. He's just I think he's the most fun, fair fight in this game. Son of Craw. He teeters between. I mean, he's a fun fight and a very iconic fight. And I appreciate that they put that in the game, and everybody thought that was going to be the last DLC until we got Fight for Sanctuary a couple years later as a teaser to Borderlands 3. He's got my least favorite thing, reflection, bullet reflection. He does. I mean, he's a fun fight, but he also has. I like the arena a lot. I like the style. But I also don't like being knocked off the edge sometimes and just falling out of the map and dying. But he's got a really cool treasure room. The treasure room is pretty cool, and I've gotten multiple legendaries from those chests. So I think we're going to throw Craw, Son of Craw, at Pearl level. I was thinking about throwing him up here, but between the bullet reflection and so many damn ads and being knocked off the edge, I don't know. I think he sets pretty well with Terra. I think he sets pretty well with Terra for me. And then the dragons. Now the dragons, once you learn the order that you're supposed to bring them down in, or the best order, they're a pretty fun fight, but they're difficult. They're not easy, but I feel like they're fair. I don't feel like they're cheap. The arena itself is cool, and getting to the arena is also really cool. And the dragons themselves are probably my favorite, and it's I know it's cliche, but I think they're my favorite personally. Um, my favorite personally, like looks and design, and obviously I think a lot of that comes from D&D and like liking dragons and stuff. But I don't feel like they're cheap, and that's what I'm kind of thinking about. I don't feel like they're cheap. Once you figure out their order, you can get a consistent kill on them, but they're not easy. They're just generally fun. And yeah, Incinerator does that bullet reflection bullshit too, but with the antagonist shield, you can do some crazy stuff with bullet deflection. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I think this would be my tier list for this game. I think this would be my tier list for Borderlands 2 raid bosses. I think it goes without saying. I hate Master Yi, I hate Dexy, and I hate Veracitus. Hyperius is Hyperius, honestly, I'm honestly teetering on just throwing him down there with Master Yi, but he's not as bad. He's not as bad to me. And looking at this tier list, I think this is probably the best for me. This is my definitive tier list for the Invincibles. But I want to hear what you guys think. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. But till next time, my friends. Been the internet's favorite loser, signing off. Goodbye and good night. Thank you for watching.